LA here, and this is going to be a yap session about some different series and the writing styles, what I like, what I dislike, why. I'm not going to get too plot heavy in these, but be aware that I will quite potentially mention spoilers as I'm talking about these, so if you get to a series you've not finished yet, you might want to stop watching. So I'm going to start with the Red Queen series. This is well written. I really like the first book. Like, this is what sucked me in. The world building is quite heavy, and that's one thing I've got mixed feelings about. It's well done, but I do feel like it is pretty dense. It's a bit denser than I would like, and as I went through this series, if you have watched my other videos, you will know I'm not really a big fan of these two middle books. A lot of things happened that really kind of ticked me off and annoyed me, and what ended up happening was I got to King's Cage, and I basically DNF'd the series, and it wasn't until, like, literally this year, 2025, that I finally picked all of these back up. I had reread Red Queen, I think, the end of 2024, and so I went ahead and went through these the rest of this year. I can't remember. It was end of 2024 or beginning of 2025. So anyway, very dense. I mean, I'd have to be in the mood to want to read this again, but the writing is good. It's really good. I know there are quite a few of really strong mixed opinions on this next series, but I'm doing this because I started reading this series end of 2024, and I read everything except for Fearful as of November 2025. So I actually did read Red Queen, and then I also read Powerless in a teen book club, and it's very interesting because these teenagers in this club, they also like writing, and they read a lot, okay? They read a lot, and they're using their brains while they're reading. So a couple of observations about this series. I like the world building, and it doesn't feel as dense as Red Queen. I like both series in different ways, just to clarify. This series, I have to say, you can read it without really having to have your brain on very much. This is more like of what I'd call like a popcorn read. This is fast entertainment. It will keep you turning the pages as you go. The one gripe that I have about this is not actually about the fact that it's very similar to the Red Queen series as well as the Hunger Games series, which has led many people to DNF this series. My main gripe is the repetitiveness of phrases that Lauren Roberts uses in these. The only one of the main books that I've read in English is Fearless. And by the time I got to this book, I was just like, please, change phrases. Please, Lauren Roberts, use word hippo, do something different. Heavy yearning in all of these, but just a lot of repetitive phrases. Like, please, stop. That's my main gripe about this. And then, perhaps one of these days, I'll do a major video on this one here. Everybody knows that Peyton needs to be with Kai, but it's just freaking awkward how she is engaged to Kai's brother, but she's making out with Kai every chance she gets. Like, yeah, I don't feel comfortable with that, but that's just me and my morals. I'm just like, it made me really uncomfortable. Yeah. So, them is my thoughts on the Powerless series, just really repetitive. So I first read the Powerless series in Spanish, and I was like, well, maybe it's just like I tolerated the first two books really well because Spanish is a lot more flowery than English. And so that leads into this series. I have read these books only in Spanish. I was kind of freaked out after Powerless. I was like, maybe Stephanie Garber is the same as Lauren Roberts as far as flowery language, because she's always talking about, it smelled like, I don't know, mystery and blah, 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 blah. It looked like, I don't know, a winter's night, blah, 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 blah. But I really like her writing style in Espanol. I love the characters, really well written. And I'm mentioning this series, happy with it, in love with it. I will read again. I plan to read this in English, probably all of them except for Spectacular, because Spectacular was weird. But that's, yeah, I've already talked about that in another video. So anyway, I love how she writes. I know for a fact I love how she writes, and I'm perfectly fine with it. because I'm going to show my Spanish editions because they're more beautiful than my English ones. I read A Curse for True Love in English, but I got these because I liked the covers. And it's really good. Okay? So I love how Stephanie Garber writes. She has good world building. It's not too dense. I don't know. Victoria Aveyard writes well, but the world building is just too dense for me, or at least it was in Red Queen. But Stephanie Garber, I feel like she really hits the sweet spot. Not so much repetitive language as Lauren Roberts. So at this point, Stephanie Garber is definitely one of my favorite authors. But yeah, what do you think? Any thoughts on world building for Stephanie Garber or any of these other people? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below.